Hey Hugo, thanks for joining us on Leadership Insights. Really impressed and intrigued by the moves recently by you and your team to evolve your business, or at least sort of move into this hand sanitizing or cleaned up operation, which is clearly much needed, and also really interested in how it's a bit, that decision was made. So obviously your traditional business, which is providing mobile phone charging solutions to pubs, bars, events, and the leisure industry, was massively impacted by the lockdown from COVID. And yet really quickly you've come up with this alternative solution, at least that's a temporary solution. Can you just share a little bit about how that came about and how quickly and how you're able to pivot and change even manufacturing from one sort of solution to another so quickly?
Yeah, sure. So it was just over a month ago. We were doing fantastically well as a network. We'd hit our highest week ever of revenue, and we were expanding across Germany, Netherlands, and obviously the UK as well as our home territory. And unfortunately, we were obviously hit by coronavirus pretty hard. Our exposure to the kind of places that you go to relax, hang out, shopping centers, the pubs and bar industry as well, restaurants, cafes, kind of all of the places that were first to be closed were our top performing venues. And we quickly realized that this was going to affect us even before the revenue from the network started to drop off. As you can imagine, we're now at about, I think it's 98% lockdown in terms of our kind of revenue performing stations across the network, and it's just not a great time to be trying to rent batteries because people are just not out and about, and that's when you need to borrow a battery. So I guess it was just over a month ago. We were set to do a big rollout of stations to a number of the kind of top airports in the UK, train stations, and then some more shopping centres as well. And the 150 units were ready in the UK, ready to be rolled out to those locations. And we came to a kind of crisis meeting about how we were going to react to this. And we thought it's not sensible to be sending these drivers out to try and install these because, by the end of this week, we might be in lockdown. And we turned out to be correct. Obviously, Boris announced on, I think it was the Saturday or the Friday of that week, and our call was correct. And then throughout that weekend, we started discussing how we could actually get through this. And we came to the idea. It was Charlie, co-founder of Charged Up. He came to this brilliant idea of converting those 150 units to hand sanitizer stations. Because as you can imagine, all of the venues that we supply already, we're in a number of the top pub chains in the UK, restaurant chains, shopping centres, airports, all of these kind of locations. They're trying to keep their customers safe, their staff safe as well, and then give a level of confidence as they start to reopen that not only are the customers safe to go back, but they can go back and not get infected with COVID-19. And from that kind of idea and that hypothesis, we decided that we would convert those 150 stations to hand sanitizer stations. So we used a UK manufacturer that we've been working with for around a year now. They're based up north and are absolutely fantastic. And they basically converted those stations for us. And before the stations were even converted, we'd already sold all of those units to a number of different clients, ranging from some of the kind of food providers that are still open. So providing delivery food, and then we provided them to their warehouse staff. Some of the biggest shipping companies in the world, we've provided them to their UK warehousing facilities. We've also provided it to the biggest retirement center in the UK, and they're actually rolling out, I believe, today to their locations. So that's around 200 units now. And now we, from that initial product, which was very suited to the charging, we've kind of created a much more price competitive model that is kind of a standalone unit specifically designed for hand sanitization, and we're now selling that across the UK, and we've got massive interest in that product. So yeah, it's been a pretty roller coaster couple of weeks.
Yeah, and what I'm really intrigued about is, let's not underestimate it's been tough, but none more so than your business. As you say, 98% of your venues or potential market closing down pretty much instantaneously. A lot of people would have battened down the hatches, looked at the furlough plans and business loans and everything. I'm not saying that you wouldn't have done that, but to be, how did you and Charlie and the rest of the team, really, was there intent of maybe we should just batten down the hatches for a bit, or was this really something that let's go and do this, and this was a longer term business opportunity?
Sure. I wrote a post on LinkedIn about kind of the stages of what we did, but of course the first stage as a venture backed business, we have to protect the runway of the business. Yeah. So we've had to make significant cost cuts across the business, renegotiating with suppliers, and we have some of the staff on furlough as well. And we're trying to make use of all of these different government schemes and support that's available to us.
Yeah.
But what we kind of out of that, I guess it gave everyone that kind of extra bit of motivation to bring back the revenue, to bring back the business for ourselves. And I think it helped, a bit of fire, blazing behind us, happen a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pleased to say that the cost cuts that we did, give us way into 2021 in terms of cash runway. And so we're not kind of in any, danger of running out of cash, even if Cleaned Up didn't succeed. But now Cleaned Up is doing so well that kind of is actually throwing out the cash flow model, throwing it out the window. So yeah, it's been a really interesting kind of pivot, and yeah, it's really fun journey.
Yeah, I'm sure it has been. You touched on something there interestingly. What they say, innovation, necessity is the mother of innovation. So
yeah.
So you've come through that. So looking now, again, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, but certainly I can see that as we do come to easing of lockdown, it's likely to be over a period of time, and therefore surely there would be an opportunity in the plan to have the hand sanitizers and the battery charging available to clients in the future.
That's it. Yeah. So ultimately we're selling to the same people, and a lot of the clients that we've been trying to get into for the phone charging service have now opened up the doors and are having conversations with us about the hand sanitizer solution. And what's great is that we're being incredibly competitive with the pricing. We're not charging people through the roof like I think a lot of people are in terms of the hand sanitizer world. Yeah. There's a lot of cowboys out there, unfortunately. We've tried to really keep things very tight, because ultimately we're in this for the long game. We want to get them as a venue for charging down the line, and if we make a quick buck now, yeah. It's not gonna come back and help us down the line. And we do see this as a more long-term issue, actually. I think we've seen the trends that have happened in Asia, when the viruses of previous years have come through. There's a lot more mask wearing. There's a lot more sanitization that goes on.
Yeah.
Just take Hong Kong as an example. In a lot of buildings, there's an hourly, 1 hour a day, every surface is sanitized to prevent the spread of any future viruses, and that's something that's been going on for years now. So I don't think this is just something that's going to be affecting people for the next couple of months. I think it's going to be something that's a bit more long term. Who knows how long term it is, but we're kind of quite happy to provide this service and ride the wave of being able to help people with our cleaned up stations, with the hope that they will kind of repay the favor and take our charging stations down the line.
Sure. And that's another revenue stream potentially in the longer term, if things do continue as they is likely to be, that we will be much more sensitive to viruses and to the cleanliness generally. Interest. Just to finally touch on, you said you had over a weekend the team sort of discussed this. How did the team, in the broader context, sort of follow the opportunity or respond to the pivot? It's not necessarily a logical conclusion if you're providing battery stations to think, oh, let's do hand sanitizing. You can see the logic afterwards, but it's not necessarily something that everybody would have thought of. So how did you sort of engage with the team, and how did they respond to the pivot?
Sure. So we created a number of different experiments of businesses that we could run. We called them COVID-proof business models. We span up a Slack channel, and we had a number of kind of groups working on different ideas. A number of those ideas, as you can see, have not come to fruition, but they're kind of in our back pocket for potentially later down the line. We're always trying to support our venue partners in any way that we can. And we've got an absolutely fantastic, tech team that can build pretty much anything you could imagine. We've got an amazing operations team that can, service anything in the country, and, can create amazingly, robust processes around that. So, I guess what we did is look at the abilities of the team that we have and those kind of things that make Charged Up, slightly different to every other company, and just started, just throwing ideas against the wall to see if they would stick. But clearly the cleaned up one is the most advanced.
Yeah.
We've got a number of other projects that are in the pipeline that you may see very shortly in terms of, around the cleaned up project or around supporting our venues in general.
Okay. Awesome. Listen, I appreciate you sharing the time, and I say real fair play to you and the team for executing so well. I know some of the team, of course. I think that's the important factor, is having the ideas, having the balls, for want of another word, of courage, if you like, and also having the right people around you is essential. But if you have all of those things, then you can ride the difficulties, whatever they might be in any business. Yeah.
Well, this is it. Startups are born out of great uncertainty and change. And you can build a really interesting business out of that. And, we decided to grab the opportunity with both hands rather than just kind of, sit and wait for the, the troubles to pass. And I guess, hopefully we'll look back in a few years' time and be very glad that we did. And it'll end up being a great success.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks very much, for Hugo, for sharing that with us. And we'll, in the links below, sort of refer back to the story and to the cleaned up station, so people can have a little bit of a further look. But again, thanks for just sharing that sort of leadership experiment, if you like, as a young team, coming up with a great solution and implementing it so quickly.
Yeah, great stuff. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks, Hugo. Cheers. Bye.